coming in very fast. Andy, Yasuo, and Vi ban out for CNB. Kassadin, Ziggs, and Elise ban out for Millenium.
I don't want to say it, but I think that's the exact same banning strategy from last game. Exactly.
Minus the Elise.
Ah,
the
yeah,
Elise.
that is true.
Elise, but you're definitely right.
What
5
did
out
they
of
swap
6 of
out?
those are exactly the same.
Yeah, that is... Okay, so I can understand the... Wait, yeah, no, I can understand banning out Elise, obviously that... my brain is completely muddled by the heat in here, I'm saying.
It's not like you've been casting all day today.
Jason, you have great stamina for...
It's not the first time I've heard that.
Doing
but
play by
CNB, we do see Thresh actually picked up here. That is locked in right away, and we have to say Alex did phenomenally well on Thresh.
Yes, I mean, he was really fantastic. Actually, I think the player he reminded me of most is Mixa Pizza, ex-Pizza actually, he's Mixa now, in Super Hot Crew in the EU LCS. That guy is a great Thresh player. He pulls all these tricks out of the book. And, okay, we're just going to wait until they lock things in here. You cannot go on. Just talk.
No, good. You got
okay,
this.
okay.
You got this.
Right. So, he reminds me of Mixed Pizza because, essentially, he's just a really, really good Thresh player. Honestly, to my mind, outshines his AD carry quite often. That's maybe not so fair on Mixa nowadays because he's with Mr. Alice, but back when I casted him a lot, back in the Challenger scene, he tended not to have quite such good AD carries. So, you're now very sad, very disappointed, and that's why I said we should wait.
I just thought it would have been funny if CNB actually played Pantheon Jungle against Arnea.
I think that would be really cool, but they aren't doing that. And right now, they haven't fallen into the trap of going for exactly the same picks as last time because I think Millenium showed the weaknesses in that, the problems that, for instance, Kurt was able to put upon them with his Fizz play. The fact is, though, that they've now committed to a top lane Renekton, and there's a couple of champions out there who are available, called Shyvana and Mundo and possibly Rengar, that are very much available.
Well, right now, we also do see them pick up Caitlyn on top of that, so we're going to have AD carries kind of swapping right there. Those champions, top laners swapping champions at the moment. But it looks like we're going to have Olaf top lane here over from Millenium, so that was just locked in. And we're going to have Lisa in the jungle, as well as Lucian, which just picked up too.
I believe Kevin likes to play Olaf versus Renekton. That's an understandable one. It's not a matchup that favors you necessarily, but it is skill-based. If you can make sure that Renekton can't keep himself sustained with his Q, you can come out on top as Olaf, and you will outscale him. That is pretty much an undeniable truth about Olaf. The thing in this situation, though, about the Zilean support is that last game they locked in the Caitlyn AD carry at the exact same time. I've spoken to Kazmich, who played for a short time. He's not going to lock it in. I'm just saying he's not going to lock it in. That's my bet. I wouldn't cut my hair off on stream for it, but I, bet on Pride or something. But basically, because of the auto attack range difference, normally Zilean can poke very effectively, even against an... Nah!
Damn, I was gonna be so proud, so smug off that.
Yeah. So, yeah, but because the 600 range isn't actually enough to outrange Caitlyn, Zilean actually becomes a lot less of a presence in the support role against her.
All right, well, Gragas and Nunu were the last picks for CNB here. And over on Millenium side, they're hovering over LeBlanc. We have seen Kurt play it before. It's easily in his repertoire of champions, and it is actually gonna get locked in.
Now, LeBlanc, in my view, is currently overrated by every single LCS mid lane. Now, that is not an opinion I like to hold on to, because obviously that means I'm probably wrong, or there's something I'm missing here. But I mean, she's good, don't get me wrong, but I feel like they pick her into too many matchups that could go wrong. Gragas is an example of this. He's a safe farmer. He can push hard. He can punish her for roaming. He can actually get to a point where he can burst her himself if he gets an advantage. And then they just pick her anyway, and it's like, I don't hate your LeBlanc pick here, but maybe you could have done something better. I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong.
Who knows? But either way, we're going to see it nonetheless. That is the truth here, and we're going to see it against that Gragas. And looking at both these compositions really quickly, we have Renekton, Nunu, Gragas, Caitlyn, and Thresh versus Olaf, Lee Sin, LeBlanc, Lucian, and Zilean. Who do you think really favors the late game in this? Who do you think is really looking to take it early on?
Late game, probably Millenium. Millenium have a lot more tools available to them, but what is basically being signaled here, when you pick Caitlyn and Nunu and Thresh at the same time as well, although he's not necessary for this strat, you're going fast push. You want to have essentially a 3-man team in the bottom lane in order to push really, really hard, really, really early. But the problem comes if you fall behind with that strategy. We saw Super Hot Crew run it in the LCS. It falls apart horribly. You have to take a lot of advantages early on. And there are problems elsewhere if, you know, the enemy jungler who is free to either help the potentially struggling lane that's being pushed, although Lee Sin wouldn't be very good for that, or they can just look to take the top tower by killing Millenium, because it's very easy to camp someone 2-on-1.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a game 2 between CNB versus Millenium. Millenium currently up 1-0 in the series, and if they take home this win, they will be up against 7 Warriors playing tomorrow in the semifinals. And CNB need to pick this one up if they want to keep their IEM Sao Paulo hopes alive. But right now, see Millenium set up around the line of scrimmage yet again here, and this is something we've been seeing other Brazilian teams. They're not really too interested in going for any sort of invades or any sort of aggressive play early on.
Yeah, well, these kinds of plays have big risks, and unlike Season 3, where you could always just drop several wards in, there's not so much to be gained anymore. And that's why you see only teams that have a lot, you know, a special circumstance where they have extra to be gained doing it. Like we saw earlier with Pain against Maokai, punished him for stacking saplings, got rid of all saplings, killed him, took his buff, etc., etc., slowed him down massively as a result, so there was a lot to be gained. Millenium definitely don't want to be doing anything aggressive, but I actually feel like CNB here do potentially have stuff to be gained. They have potential buff control. They may not have as much damage necessarily in the early game, but they know Millenium is almost certainly going to play safe. They've seen them do it the last game, and they know the pressure that's on Millenium to perform are going to take safe strat. So why not at least kind of try to make use of the death sentence, to make use of the consume and take away early advantages?
All right, well, they're not going to go for anything, just like you're saying, and they do have a good combo to make that happen, even though Smite was changed around a little bit, and also the consume as well. But in the meantime, we see Millenium going for a late invade here on this blue buff. If they can take this away as they're not spotted coming in, this could be huge. And Dana, he's just sitting there not really caring. He actually do get the vision from Kurt, but the Q does miss out of Arnea. And Dana, he's sticking around. Look how low he's dropping. He's tanking the blue buff. He was tanking them. He gets ignited. That's first blood going over to Arnea. And now they're not done. They're looking for Lefko here, and they're going to land the Q. Arnea actually goes over the wall, decides to back away instead. And they're going to get that first blood over to Arnea. They're going to steal away the blue buff here, potentially, as Takeshi's here to try to stop it. They do have the vision on it because of that ward, but Kurt is just zoning them out.
Yeah, and this is what I actually mentioned about safe play before. It sounds or seems almost as if Millenium there played aggressive and went for an invade, but that was very non-committal by them. They circled around, they weren't in any threat because they knew where everyone was, at least that could be catching them out, and they knew that they could be on the other side of the blue wall, but they used Kurt to check it out. He used his distortion in. No way could CNB have locked him down and killed him before he could jump back. So he checked out, saw 2 people, they went for the engage. Arnea actually missed his Q, which was a bit weird. But other than that, that was very actually easy for them to do and smart. That shows a lot of planning.
And what's really interesting too, I'm not sure if it was intended by Kurt, but it wouldn't actually surprise me if it was, is that he aggroed blue himself. And because of that, we saw Dana tanking it up, and it took a lot of extra damage that maybe he necessarily didn't need to have happen early on in that fight.
That's true as well. I had not considered that aspect, but that's really... That's smart. That's very smart, very well planned, if that was the case, and certainly makes sense, because Distortion, they must have known if they'd practiced this strat in, say, scrims, that that would happen, even if they didn't originally plan it that way. That's just works out for them.
Well, we are seeing Arnea take his own blue buff here, so they're limiting Dana down to only 1 buff, who, you know, last game, he did a great job with that Trogoth, really provided a lot of strong early ganks, but just kind of seemed to fall apart as the game kind of progressed here, but we held back quite a bit, and this gives Arnea that free roam over the jungle. He's now level 4 to the level 2 of Dana, and with that first kill under his belt, it's on a good 800 gold to spend as well, and he's actually going to be going for a little bit more counter jungling here, it looks like, and he's actually going to be heading through the Wraith camp, but was spotted out by that ward.
That ward from CNB has just saved them quite a lot of trouble, and it was actually smart by Nunu to not go straight for clearing out his blue buff. I think that was what Arnea was relying on. The timing, if he had started on his own blue buff, there for Arnea would have been perfect for him to turn up, kill Nunu in his jungle, put him even further behind, and then, you know, move on and steal all of his things as well. In this situation, Nunu is going to be able to catch up a bit, but as I mentioned in Champion Select, fast pushing strategies involving Nunu generally need early advantages. He's been set so far behind that the tower push now is going to be much, much slower than they'd like.
And the thing is, they're not in a 2v1 lane either, so it kind of makes it a little difficult for that to happen. But we do see right now Kirk is going for a little bit of a cheeky fight against Taishin, who's still really healthy. Arna just gets to stay away from these raid camps. And I was saying, you know, the split push that you're mentioning, it's just weird that they're not going for that 2v1 to have the ability to take turrets very early on and maybe send their AD carry support mid lane up against this LeBlanc and then have that like, guaranteed push where Gragas can sustain very well in that 1-on-2 lane. And Arna, he's still sticking around. He's looking for Dana here. And he's gonna spot him. I'm not sure if Dana actually did see him right here, but he's actually gonna get the engage. He's going for the damage on top of him. He doesn't have flash escape. Arna does have. We did actually miss a kill over in middle where Takeshi picked up a kill on a Kirk 1v1. I'm not really sure what went down with that one, but he picks it up nonetheless.
Yeah, I didn't see that happen either, and now potentially we have more action.
Minaj getting so low on the bomb, and the bomb is ticking. 1 second remaining. It's gonna get the kill. Jerry picks that one up, and that is another kill going over from Millenium.
So, a bad start for CNB here. Even though he didn't die, Nunu actually forced out of his jungle again, comes in time to see Aranea taking away things that should belong to him. And as a result now, he's just going to have to kind of cower with his team. I'm not sure they can hold that, though.
And they're going for the dive here. We just see Arnett just dive straight, and Cretan picks up that kill. Jerry's going to be able to escape here. They're not done just yet. They're looking for the kill on Alex. He actually gets one more auto attack, but no, he gets taken down. And this is the Millenium that we were expecting, honestly, coming into this. And now even Cretan might get trouble. The ultimate comes out. It splatters him across the floor. He does pick up one, but not before losing 2 of his teammates. And just like that, Millenium are up 4-2 here, 6 minutes in.
Good timing on the roam there from Takeshi, though, especially with the fact that he got level 6 a little bit early because of that LeBlanc kill. Otherwise, that would have been an unmitigated disaster for his team, but as it was only a minor disaster. They're still falling behind even further, though, and it was gorgeous damage juggling from the entirety of Millenium in that dive.
Even Kirk is fancy his chances. He has Dana right there getting him freakishly low off of that. And Kirk doesn't have that blue buff, but one very interesting build actually. One for those double Doran's blades and that ring, sorry, and the Kristen Flask. But right now, Aranea, I mean, it's honestly just the story of him. He has been controlling Dana this entire time, and right now I actually see Kirk getting really low here middle. Forced to back away, but Aranea it's just single-handedly been controlling this game. He's kept Dana so far behind. He's been taking away as much jungle as possible. He still retains a lead here, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him take away a blue buff again. However, like you were pointing out before, he doesn't actually know the time. He thinks it's about 7:20, but Nunu didn't take it until later on.
Yeah, he doesn't know the exact timing, but he will find out when it happens.
And Arnett heading up towards his top side, looking for the corner. Luckily, pops the ultimate. He's going to get caught here. Arnett is not level 6. He can't kick him back, but it forces the flash. It looks like they're going to continue to dive here. Arnett is taking up the turret. It looks like he's trying to escape, but he gets taken down. Lego gets a kill. Kenny got a cover. He's going to get a double kill. And Lego, fantastic turnaround right there, taking advantage of the cockiness of Millenium and picking up those 2 kills for himself.
And I was thinking, that seems really quite brave. They're going for that because Renekton's health, not only does it spike up from the Dominus, but he builds up the Fury and he spikes up again from the sustain on the Q. So he was able to survive just long enough and get the stun on Aranea just before he could jump out. And it really works there.
Fantastic job by him, and you can even hear the crowd right now. They're just chanting on CNB, hoping they can pick up this victory, keep themselves alive here in the Intel Extreme Masters Sao Paulo, keep their hopes alive and get into the semifinals. But right now, Leko just fantastic play of him. There's nothing else to say about that.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant stuff. But there's still a mountain to climb for them because the Nunu is not going to be doing much more than a blood boil, basically, at this point. He is relevant in that he has his ultimate, but it's only going to take, you know, 1 knockback, 1 silence. There's not that many interrupts from Millenium, which is a saving grace, but there's not a lot of options.
And Arna here's off to the side. They're going to get the snare onto him. They're looking for the kill. He's level 6, but he actually gets far enough away that he doesn't kick back in his team, but it doesn't matter. They're going to pick up the kill either way. Kurt picks that one up, and that is 1 kill apiece, at least for the entirety of Millenium.
Yeah, they're doing really, really well again. But that was actually a really nice usage there by Aranea to get himself out, but I'm a little bit surprised he didn't tick down to the Ignite, and I have to wonder whether he's just feeling at this point, I am on top of the world, I can just do anything.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually feeling that right now, because he's been doing so phenomenally well this game, and right now they have a lead, but Jerry getting caught with that thresh hook. He's actually just not really going to care too much. Just put the bombs down, do a little bit of harass here, and did just miss a kill top lane by Leko though, a dive onto Kevin. he is just controlling that top lane. And I was talking to our admin earlier on after that first game, and I was saying, I've never seen Kevin lose a lane. He always plays so damn well. But right now, with that double kill Lecco was able to get, it just doesn't matter. In the bot lane right now, Jerry even getting very low on health. He's actually gonna get ulted. And he sits in the minions, so he actually gets dropped before the ultimate hits off of Caitlyn, and he actually got killed by her. And now Krita comes from the side looking for the kill, but Alex is a nice body block right there, and he stays alive.
Close run stuff in general. I have to wonder about the ace in the hole though, because at best it was going to proc Zillion's ultimate there. I was wondering if, like, did she just want to do that to scare him or something?
I want to say, I couldn't see the timer, but I want to say it was going to go off right when Zillion ultimate disappeared. I want to say that because we saw him die in the middle of the creep wave, but now Arnia going for the boost, though. He unfortunately doesn't get it, but he gets out with the ward, tries to get Lecco away, but Lecco's not done just yet. He wants to push them off of that, and that will be blue buff going over to Diana.
Lecco is trying to hold on to this game. He is grabbing a lot of opportunities now to roam because he's so far ahead of Kevin, and that's giving him an edge. He's getting more farm, but he has to be careful not to let Olaf farm back up into being a potential one-on-one threat to him. At the same time, though, he has no choice but to roam right now, lest Aronair snowball the game.
Aronair's been doing a great job. He went for those early boots of mobility, but Kevin, I mean, he's just not really having a good time in this top lane. He's not really too happy about it. Lecco's just been able to dive under that turret. The Sunfire Cape almost done for him as well, as it actually does have it when he does decide to go back. And Lecco doing a fantastic job on this Renekton. Kevin obviously did play it the game just prior, and wasn't as flashy, but had a pretty similar score at that time.
Yeah, he's kind of playing a revenge game right here, and there was a Gragas ult used in mid.
Yeah, actually, what's funny is Takeshi's been using that non-stop on the curb to actually get his passive pop, to get him low, so he actually won't be a threat in middle. He's been doing that, I think, every single cooldown almost at this point, and it's been doing a good job so far. He's keeping up in CS, and that's have one kill advantage, but honestly doesn't have as big a lead as he wants right now.
It does restrict Kirk's roaming because the ultimate will obviously clear the entire wave just as kind of collateral here, but top lane.
Oh, Lecco's getting caught. Actually, wow, that slice of ice coming in saved his life as he's able to get right behind Arnair and be kicked back into his own minions. Arnair just, I mean, honestly, hasn't really been spot on today, at least in this game, with his Lee Sin kick so far. But obviously we know him to be a damn strong Lee Sin, probably one of the best in Europe.
He's been making some very smart calls, but he hasn't been executing particularly well. I actually think as well, when he very early on challenged Nunu in the jungle, in that brush near Wraith Camp, I actually think if Nunu hadn't run away, he might have been able to stick to him and draw that to a close. As it was, Arnair didn't really gain much, but I mean, he forced him out of the jungle, but he didn't actually have the potential to kill him there.
And Takeshi's going to see Curb right there. Actually wanted to go for a little bit of a fight, but unfortunately wasn't able to. And I want to talk about IEMs real quick because we see the AD carries both going for very, very different paths.
Yeah, if you're going for the Trinity Force Lucian, it's fairly usual to start with the Phage. What's interesting is that he's built the BF sword as well. Phage is one of the only items, though, in the Trinity Force build, which can kind of stand up on its own merits. It's a little bit weak otherwise, most of the items, because Sheen is only very useful if you're already ahead and you can want to punish someone with pokes on the tower, and the Zeal is obviously just not going to do much until you've got other stats to kind of work with the crit and attack speed. As a result, the Phage sometimes can work that way.
No, right now we see Arna heading down towards bottom for a fight here as he already has Nunu straight in. Jerry pushed up very far with the ultimate popped onto him, not going to go down. Actually, not going to die at all. And the kick! What a kick at Arna! Helps him pick up the kill on Nunu. And now Minaj is looking like he's going to go down from that ignite. They pick up 3 quick kills in very fast succession. The flash comes on a Takeshi's, but it doesn't get anyone down. And you're seeing Curb's clone just sit in that bush, not really worried too much. And a fantastic turnaround by Millenium, baiting them in long enough for the rest of Millenium to come in for a turnaround.
We had to go and criticize Aronair's mechanical execution this game. That was brilliant. That ultimate knocked up 3 people, obviously, but also at the end, just flinging the Q almost casually with the projectile picking up a kill on the end, and really, really nice stuff overall. They're now free, more or less, to roam around and look for kills in the enemy jungle. Aronair and Kurt will move together a lot this game.
And Aronair, he's looking to steal away the red buff here yet again. He does get caught a little bit by Takeshi's right there, but not enough damage to pick up the kill overall. But it does chase him away. It does allow Dana to pick up the red buff, and currently, Dana's still only down 1 level right now. And Kurt trying to run away from that top side from Lekka coming down after the red buff, and does escape that one scotch-free, but he's still very low health on this turret, and this 2-man squad, 3-man squad now with Alex coming in from the bottom lane, he's got to have to be careful.
Smart though. I like this play from CNB. They're trying to use what they've got from top lane because they have a big asset there. Their only real asset is the Fed Renekton. They've got to make use of him somehow. Pushing the mid lane is the best way of doing that because he's not going to kill Olaf one-on-one anymore. Sunfire Cape is nearly finished on Olaf. He's got wave clear from his Q. So long as he doesn't go too aggressive, he'll always be okay. Which means obviously Renekton sits there and does nothing if he, apart from just farming up a bit faster than him, if he stays in the top.
And Lekka, he had 2,400 gold to spend right there. Finished off that Sunfire Cape, finished off a Spectral's Cowl as well, and he's very far ahead of his opponent in that top lane with items. You mentioned Kevin going for that Sunfire Cape, gonna need that to be a little bit of extra tanky. And Arnia going for that kind of standard build. He actually did invest in the boots ability very early on, and I was also seeing Kurt go for that DFG.
Well, DFG LeBlanc is pretty much the standard.
Curb get ulted back into his own turret. He's getting very low. The ignite taken away. It's not gonna be enough. He gets one Jugatum, dodges it as well, and he does have the respawn. What is he doing? My camera work can't keep up, but the silence, it keeps him alive. He looks like he's gonna be able to escape, but Lekka coming in. He hops over the wall, the Nunu flash, able to pick up the kill. And what a play by Curb, but it just wasn't good enough. CB were able to pick up that kill, and in the meantime, the bottom lane, JJ is gonna go down.
I was point and click at the end there by Nunu to pick it up, but it was still completely, I mean, not worth it to die, but he used a lot more cooldowns than I think anyone would have expected in that situation. Nunu flashed, I think Gragas did not flash, but certainly used his ultimate. It's going to make it difficult for him to roam immediately, although it looks like he kind of wants his blue buff. But they need to react to his bottom lane at the moment, but there's so much pressure from the mid.
And there's pressure everywhere across the board from Millenium right now, even though they're still up about 4,000 gold right now. CNB have been doing a fantastic job of trying to claw their way back in this, but Millenium just seem to be getting the better of them at every single turn. Obviously minus that last fight, but right now that bomb turret very low in life. It's going to go down momentarily here, and we do have Cretan. He's going to finish up that Trinity Force here soon. He does have the Sheen, does have that phase completed now, but still just on that BF sword.
Interesting that he's not going for a Bloodthirster first here for the lifesteal, but I think it's mostly just because he knows he's already ahead, so he can just punish really, really hard and doesn't need sustain. He can just kind of sustain very slowly from his lifesteal runes off the minions. And now I think with Caitlyn doing so poorly, it's going to take a long time for CNB to be relevant, but they can, at least from the AD carry. But they can, as long as Lekko keeps making these good roams and Takeshi is able to hold his tower, at least rely on being able to keep farming Caitlyn in that bottom lane.
And look at the amount of wards that Millenium has in the enemy jungle. They have 3 here just trying to triangle of death right now for Millenium to control. And it shows their aggression, that it shows they want to be able to control that bottom side of the map. They already realized, hey, our bottom lane is able to take that turret down next wave, and they can probably continue to push because Caitlyn has that mid-game lull. Where Creaton's only going to get stronger. That turret will drop here, and that will be the first of the game for Millenium, the second overall. But will they continue to push that advantage is the real question.
I actually think what CNB wants right now is for Millenium's bot lane to roam towards the mid lane and to try and just get Caitlyn to freeze the lane here. She needs to pick up some farm. She needs to get a little bit closer on gold, but it's actually looking like Millenium are kind of heading that possibility off by just roaming together.
You do get Gragas pushed away right here, and you saw LeBlanc heading down towards the top side. You see the ultimate used out of Lekka right there, the hook. Unfortunately, not going to let Nunu try to slow them down with the ultimate, but they flash out of the Gragas spread. Arnett getting very low in health. He gets his ultimate on top of him. He's going to stay alive, and look at the damage Cretan is doing this with the help of Curb. They're almost taking him down one by one, but now Millenium is so low in health. Kevin finally coming from the backside, but he's forced to run away. The hook lands on Cretan. Now he's very low. Looks like they're trying to escape yet again. It looks like looks like they should be able to, as Kevin's sticking around, trying to go for a kill, trying to turn this around onto Mana JJ, but he misses the undertow. He's going to start running away momentarily. He's going to pick up the kill, and even Jerry's there now. He gets picked off on the pole out of Thresh, and in the end, through all of that, it was a 1-for-2 in favor of CNB.
A nice one though, because Millenium's composition with that roaming Lee Sin, with Kurt moving with him, they have a lot of picking potential, but they also don't have a brilliant team fight. Yes, they've got Zillion ult to revive someone important, but that's not going to give them that huge advantage. So when they get caught in a 4-on-5 team fight, Kevin wasn't there for ages, they can still lose in spite of their gold advantage, and that gave an objective to CNB, has given them some map control back. That's going to mean those wards in the lower jungle actually, I think, time out before Millenium can refresh them, making it much harder for Millenium to get that control again in the future.
And I think the next big point of contention is that dragon. Left in about 15 seconds here, both teams probably really want to go for it here. And after that last fight, CNB probably feeling fairly confident about making that fight happen, maybe pulling it off as well. And we do see the ultimate used yet again. It's going to force Kurt to back away soon, I would imagine. And that's perfect timing because Dragons is now up.
Yeah, he's going to keep sustaining up with the Flask, though. And I don't know which I'd rather have, a LeBlanc with very little health or a Gragas with very little mana. Both of them will bring it back up with time. W from Gragas will give himself that. Wow.
Wow, that damage. Not enough to pick up the Ignite. Still ticking away. Is he going to survive? He's so low. He goes down. Curve gets it on that last tick, and they now kick Lecco into the back of their team. And Lecco, no matter how tanky he is, no matter what he's scoring, he is dropping so damn fast. He's going to go down here. He gets shut down by Aranea. And just like that, with Curve having no life, is able to take them takes. They're able to turn around into a kill onto Lecco, and it looks like they might be able to take a Dragon as well. It
turns out that an out of health LeBlanc is capable of making Gragas also out of health, which means then you have the mana advantage on your side. But that was a very, very smart pickup by Curve, and a big advantage to be gained from it because they were in position to follow up, and now Millenium are back in the driver's seat.
That Dragon, they're now up about 6,000 gold at this point, almost 7 currently, and it's about 6 right now. It's looking very strong for them. They've been doing a fantastic job throughout the majority of the game. CNB's been making like some really good plays here or there, but they just kind of seem to fall apart throughout game 1, throughout game 2, when it gets to these team fights.
It's very difficult to contend with the skills that Millenium have been showing. I mean, just mechanically, they've been really, really good. Stuff like Curve jumping over the wall. He executed his combo very, very quickly. But at the same time, I feel like CNB could maybe come back if they lasted long enough. Obviously they can't play it defensively. They can't just say, we're going to turtle and wait for 40 minutes or whatever. That wouldn't work out. They'd just get split pushed in. They'd lose towers. They'd lose objectives. They'd lose the game. But so long as they can keep going toe-to-toe without this lead increasing too much in terms of proportions, potentially there might be an edge for them in the late game fights.
And you definitely can't count them out, especially when they have their crowd here behind them, cheering them on every time they get that single kill. To give them a little bit of extra energy, really pump them up here. But Millenium, I mean, the thing is, what's so weird, we're talking about the expectations earlier on, and game 1 wasn't very convincing out of them.
No.
Game 2, it hasn't really been super convincing. It was the beginning where it was like the old Millenium or the ultimate that we saw back in the summer split, but they kind of seem to have lost the momentum because of CNB just getting back in this.
Well, arguably, sometimes when players take, breaks, whether they wanted to or not, they can lose some of that motivation or some of that, I don't know what it is, that je ne sais quoi, that particular skill that makes a great player into, a genius player. And Creatin's still very, very good. There's no denying it. But is he quite as outclassing as he used to be? I don't know. It's hard to say.
Right now, they have a lot of aggressive warriors towards the bottom side of the map, able to spot anyone coming to defend this turret. And Mana JJ's turret's not looking very healthy right now, as you see the rest of the team kind of close in on them. But Arne, in the meantime, he realizes, this middle turret's probably undefended. Why not go for a push here? And he does have Curve there to back him up.
Yeah, it's what we've been seeing a lot from them. Both of them moving together, escaping together, because obviously Curve can jump away in order for Lee Sin to safeguard. But it's a really strong combo, as long as they don't get caught in another fight.
Aranea, he's covered out from the backside. He's looking for something. He dodges the play. He's looking to kick one man back into the team. What we see on the top, the takes you getting dropped very low with the kick. It's going to come out soon. He still has it available. He actually jumps over the wall, and he gets hit with the hook here as well as the K ultimate coming in, but Kurt body blocks that one away. And if anything, they just defend against it. They make sure they get that turret down, and they do, in fact, make it happen. So Millenium picking up another turret, tying it back up to 2-2 here. And Lecco even coming back from that top side of the base, or of the map, to defend against that turret, which just fell.
And that's the power of the Roam squad. They're so mobile, they've got so much burst, they can catch people out in transit, and because the other lanes from Millenium are now doing pretty decently themselves, Olaf's catching back up, they're now able to force CNB to go into transit quite a lot. Gragas is the one getting caught out because he's trying to roam in order to deal with the bot lane pressure.
Right now, Millenium, they're not really committing for that turret just yet. They're kind of I'm quite happy with the way the game's going. Just like I said, Kevin getting back in the game, fantastic job by him. It make me feel better about saying I'd never really see him ever lose his lane. But the rest of CNB, I mean, in your opinion, what do they need to get back in this? I mean, we could talk all day about how potentially they need to catch off Millenium off guard, but because of how far Millenium's ahead, they have too many wars down to do that. I mean, what's the direction? Obviously, they need to make something happen. You can't just expect to win here with this giant 6,000 gold deficit.
Seeking an engagement that lasts, I think, is what they need to do. And now it's actually interesting because Lecco is running away, and oh, that's why.
And he's getting kicked straight into Kevin right there. We did see Curve actually pick up a kill middle onto Alex, but right now its focus is on Lecco here. They do have the speed up. Kevin's going to get the undertow. He's going to get the boom on the E on him. But he's going to be able to get the slicers over the wall. He's going to be able to escape here, and that was a lot committed out of Millenium to just trying to go for that. And again, Kurt was able to pick up a kill middle, so it works out for itself.
Yeah, that's the weird thing here. That should have been a very good exchange for CNB. A lot of pressure in return for nothing almost from Millenium, but Kurt just picks up a kill independently. It was basically off of entirely of his own merit. It wasn't anything that the rest of his team did. He just found someone and killed them.
You know, I want to point this out for all of you guys at home who are actually, you know, maybe not familiar with Kurt, which, I mean, you should be at this point in time. He plays with a trackball mouse. And he's playing the block. That is not easy whatsoever. As you see him go in, he does look for the snare. He's going to get the snare. Daisy's getting very low right now. The Groggy Sparrow comes out, spreads him apart, but the bomb is taking, the ignite is taking. He's just saved by Thresh there with that shield. And now you're seeing Millenium being forced to run away as the talisman is popped. Kurt trying to control him. Lecco gets caught. He gets snared, but Arne gets pulled into the rest of the team, and he's able to run away from this. But look how low everyone is on both of these teams. Kevin with the Ragnarok pumping, going straight in, looking for the kills right now, trying to go for Mano JJ, but he's forced off. Kurt finally goes down to the hands of Dana, and now we're seeing Creighton. He goes down as well to Mano JJ, and just like that, it's a 2-on-2 trade.
I felt like Millenium were being...
Oh no, let go! Oh. Arne, he wasn't satisfied with that. He actually went for the invade right there, caught him off guard, picks up the kill, so they still come out ahead in that trade.
I felt like Millenium were being overly aggressive because they got caught. That fight started in a way that was a bit iffy for them. They were on the retreat, they'd taken a lot of damage, and then they went for a re-engage. But I mean, it worked out for them, except for that last little dive by Creatine and Co. So, I mean, it makes sense, but maybe they're not feeling so much pressure or any need to worry about, you know, their expectations anymore. Maybe because they're a game up, they're willing to play more loosely.
A little bit interesting to see why they did that. I'd actually be curious to hear about that in the interview. They do manage to pick this one up, and Dragon has respawned. We're already seeing Millenium kind of head for that currently. They have a pink ward down in that bush, but there's a ward in the hands of CNB inside the pit, so they're going to be able to spot that when it does get started up here. And right now, you're seeing Millenium, it feels like they don't really care if they do go for it just yet. Maybe they're trying to bait CNB into a fight.
The interesting thing here is that Renekton is going to top lane. I don't know whether he's thinking his team can contest it 4v5, because I'm pretty sure they can't, or whether they're just not willing to risk getting into another 5-on-5 fight. But if they don't risk getting into 5-on-5 fights, they're just going to get picked apart over time by, you know, Aranea's roaming, by Kurt's roaming, and the advantage could potentially snowball against them as a result of that. So I don't like that call, honestly.
Well, let's see if it comes back to bite him in the ass later on. I mean, obviously, it's Millenium with a giant lead right now. They've been able to extend it to almost 8,000 gold right now. And Kevin, who is behind for a majority of the game, has caught up in CS for the most part, has caught up overall in total gold, actually surpassed his opponent in total gold, which is a fantastic job by him. For the rest of Millenium, I don't know, it still seems weird to me because I feel like they should, or as a team, they should be used to closing out a game quicker than this. But they're showing how good CNB is, and they're showing the respect that they have for him.
Yeah, I think this was one of the problems Millenium quite often suffered from in the LCS, is not being so brilliant at closing out games, and as a result, games dragging on and potentially having comebacks against them. If that is a traditional problem from them, I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm fairly sure it actually is something that's been commented on in the past. But right now, they have come out with a very big advantage from the laning phase. So whether that'll prove to be their curse or not, they certainly have a long way to go before they've managed to throw this game.
And we might see an engage actually happen middle of Curb. He's still going for that split push kind of strategy with LeBlanc this time. He's looking to potentially get behind him right here to really make something happen. As you see Kevin catching Lecco right there. In the meantime, Arne and them going to be pushing to this military. He really hasn't taken any damage at all. And here comes Kurt going for the kill on Alex. The Koi coming in, the bomb, it's going to be enough. They pick up the kill onto him. And Alex has just been out of position twice now this game, being bursted out almost instantly, and this gives them that man advantage. They have the ultimate that they need up for this dive if they want to go for it. It's going to be very tough for CNB to hold on to this turret.
They can dive really, really hard with Zilean ultimate available, because it not only breaks the aggro, but it also resets the tower.
And RNA kicks Lecco straight into his AD carry. Kurt coming for the backside. Manage JJJ dropping before I can even see it happen. Now Kurt baiting him with that corner there. Creedson getting so low, but he does have the Zilean ultimate. They need to back him up. We see Nunu trailing his ultimate, trying to get the full charge off. Creedson's still alive, but he finally will drop here. Kevin is coming in from the backside, trying to turn this around, and Kurt with no help is sticking around to try to pick up this Kona Lecco. It looks like he will go down here, but that is a delayed ace coming in from Millenium, but Alex has finally respawned here.
That's another big fight for Millenium, though. They pick up more gold, and this time, there's no excuse for not pushing down towers. They will take towers from this. That has been their biggest problem so far. As you can see, it's 2-2, even though there's a 10k gold lead. They haven't been converting their picks into kills. But now they're far enough ahead on gold, they can convert a pick into a one-team fight. And that one-team fight, they can then convert, somewhat belatedly perhaps, into a tower. Their sieging itself is still not going to be great, though.
Oh, they're able to get 2 turrets off of this too, so it gives them a hefty amount of gold to spend. You can look at each player on the team. Curve, 3,000 gold to spend. RNA has 1,700 gold to spend. Kevin, 1,600 gold to spend. Even Jerry sitting on 1,700 gold. They have so much money to buy items with that even if that last fight was somewhat close, it's not going to stay that way.
No, and now LeBlanc has gotten Void Staff. Now LeBlanc, I reckon, might be able to burst Renekton.
Yeah, she also picked up the DFG from that. Or sorry, not the DFG, the Robinon's Death Cap. So that is a lot of extra damage, 513 AP now.
Yeah, she's now, like I was saying, she's kind of getting to the point where she might be able to burst down Renekton. And if that happens, at least take him low enough to be, you know, no longer a factor in a team fight.
Yeah, to stop him from like diving into the backline on a creative.
And if that happens to Renekton, if he goes that low in a fight, that's huge for Millenium, because then there's no real front line from CNB. They can wait for LeBlanc's cooldowns to come back up in, you know, 20 seconds or whatever it is.
Wow.
Oh, wowzers. And as a result of that, they will win a team fight if Renekton even gets bursted. And everyone else, if they get bursted, they're just out.
And that was just from one quick combo. Yes, the DFG was involved in that, but the way LeBlanc works, the ultimate's going to be up momentarily here. It should be up right now. And if they, I mean, the thing is, they don't have a great siege team, but if they can combo like that onto a squishy target who overextends a couple of times, that's got to be them committing to a fight. I mean, that person's going to have to back away or just risk being killed instantly.
Yeah, CNB, every time they go past something where they could be a LeBlanc at all, they are walking on a knife's edge. Only Renekton could survive an over-the-wall combo.
Oh no, Dana easily get bursted down. Great ward coming out of Millenium right there. Opens up the possibility for that. But more importantly, it opens up Baron.
Yeah, that is walking on a knife edge, aka you're gonna get cut.
You know, I want to watch. Sorry, I want to watch Baron, but I also want to watch Kurt at the same time because he's sticking off to the side. He's looking for a gank or two in here to kind of keep them pushed away, and it looks like they're not going to be. I don't want to say super enough, but they're not going to even move towards Baron right now.
They can't. There's just nothing they can do about it. He's actually seeking Thresh out there, I believe. That's close stuff. And now Baron. So how much AP is he on?
You know, just 569.
Oh, just
casual. Just a casual day for him in the Summoner's Rift. But it looks like they're going to go for a 5-man push onto his turret. Lecco, you are not in a good position because look what's right behind you. It is RNA. That GA is not going to really last. It's going to get popped mid-fight right there, so he's actually going to survive in the end from it. But they're still going to lose the tower no matter what. Yeah,
and it's a lose-lose situation. But Kevin, he's going to seek this.
Oh, they want to go for it here. It looks like he misses the undertow. Unfortunately, they do get the backaway curve. Actually going to make Jerry eat that Caitlyn ultimate right now, but they're not done just yet. They have that regen. They have the Mikhail's Crucible for Jerry. They want to go for an inhibitor, and look at the damage! Man, JJ gets bursted out from the Colin and the block over the side. Even Lecco now getting bursted out instantly, and Millenium are looking to clean this game up here. They're diving straight on to Kragus. They pick up the kill to him. Now Dana trying to run away here, but he gets locked down. He gets snared. He's going to go down, and this is going to be an ace for Millenium. And this is most likely going to be the game, because look at those respawn timers.
Yeah, it's a long, long time. This game has gone on for a decent length of time. Inhib will go down. Kevin can tank towers very easily indeed. And Whether okay,
they
RNA is going to do
have
it.
Jerry ultimate, so I mean, if anyone is even possibly going to get close to dying, it's not going to matter. And that first extra turn, that's going to drop. The second one's going to fall very shortly. Millenium are looking to take a very quick, very one-sided 2-0 victory against CNB, knock them out of the game or out of the tournament, and advance on to play against 7 Wars tomorrow in the semifinals. And even the crowd is giving them a little bit of a cheer too for that one.
Yeah,
I will give them credit for that.
Really, really good stuff from them. They executed very, very well that game. They didn't have to come back from a deficit, and you can see how much control they were able to exert over the game. You could argue they didn't close it out as fast as they could have done, but I cannot blame them for playing safe.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, as long as you win, that's all that matters. And I'm sure Millenium are definitely believers in that one. They're going to go and shake the hands of CNB, who look very down on themselves, but honestly, they should be quite proud. They did so well in the first game. They were able to beat Millenium in the leading phase.
Yeah.
They were able to go into the mid game with a nice lead. In that game, not so much, but they definitely put up a good fight against pretty much the 7th ranked team in Europe.
Yeah, there's a lot of learned lessons here from CNB as well. Their macro decision making, they can work on that. Judging from the replay from this game, for instance, they could make a lot of judgments and adjustments to the way they play, and that may well help them out in future games. I can't say. I don't follow the Brazilian scene. I don't know what their future games are likely to be, but that could be really useful.
Let's go look at take a look at the kills that we actually had coming in from both teams. For Millenium, 6-1-13 on RNA. He was devastating in the beginning. We kind of criticized a couple of his ultimates as the game progressed on, but he definitely made them work as time went by. Also, we have Kurt 9-4-9, Creatine 6-3-13, even Jayri had 4-1-14. I mean, the worst person on the team in that game was Kevin, who was still 3-2-8 with 220 CS.
That is a game which snowballs. That is a game where they were ahead for a long, long time, and Renekton was not able to do anything about it. That was the thing. Millenium reacted well when he tried to roam. They were able to hold on to their towers even when they were on the numbers disadvantage, and it didn't work.
All right, well, that's going to be us for today. We're going to head over to the stage for an interview with actually a member of Millenium in just a second. But guys, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you again tomorrow.